And the opening round of GRIDLIFE competition for 2026 is about to come to a close for our GRIDLIFE Track Battle Championship. Welcome back to Carolina Motorsports Park, and the wind has picked up, as you can hear, Jacob, but it is Falcon Club SC on track now. This is class number 7 of 7. Our slowest cars here of the weekend, but perhaps some of the most competitive cars that we're going to see. 25-to-1 power-to-weight class. See a lot of Honda Fits, Civics, Corollas, and Mike Jansen is the top seed here coming into this event. Has already broken the track record this weekend, a 1:53.527. The goal here is go faster than your classmates in 3 laps.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time, and you don't want a lot of time. The goal here is the smallest time you can get is going to put you on the top of the box. And it's been incredible to watch these drivers go around. They find pace in some really interesting areas. I think they can go flat out in some pretty cool spots, and we'll see how everything ends up working out for them when they've got 3 laps and nothing more to wrap up their weekend.
Yeah, so Mike Jansen in this 156 Honda Civic is making his way around course. Again, that 1:53.527 is the track record, but second seed Lennon Radcliffe, who's just behind him in a Toyota Corolla, has a 1:53.981. So there was only 0.4 of a second between them. And these cars make, at best, really 105 horsepower maybe. I heard one dyno in the 84 horsepower range, but it's all about carrying speed over the course of the lap. You're not going to be touching the brakes all that much, but here comes Jansen across the stripe for the first lap of his session. And now we're going to get lap times up on the board, and we'll see what Jansen's got. A 1:53.527 was the track record previously, and he's not quite there. 1:54.803 though for Lennon Radcliffe. So again, your lap time coming into this session, that's fine and dandy. You get an extra point for the track record, but how we set the podium is by the finishing order of this heat. So right now, Radcliffe, if things were to end here, would be on top of the order and gets the big trophy going home. I'm
wondering if any of this wind is going to create a headwind, and maybe that's a bit of an issue. There's a few spots in here they might catch a tailwind, but if you it's weird to say, but if you catch the right gusts this weekend, it might be the difference between 1st and 5th.
Well, certainly in this category, when you don't have the horsepower to push through the wind, that tailwind, that headwind is going to make a big difference. See Jansen just hauling through turn number 8. And your season champion from last year in this track battle class. And again, modifications are fairly limited here. You're not going to be doing any kind of funny engine swaps. You're on 205 with Falcon RT 660 plus tires. And generally, you're going to be looking at coilovers, brakes, and you can do a little weight savings here and there, especially in the vicinity of safety features. But these cars, many of them, Dueling, for example, David Best, for example, they drive here. I know Dueling has driven to California from Michigan twice and come away with a trophy one of those 2 times.
Yeah, I asked him about it. He said it's a pretty comfy drive. He had no problems with it, and it was a good time. And yeah, as the old phrase goes, you can sleep in a car, but you can't race a house.
Yeah, there you go. Jansen on the binders now into turn 14, coming back around. Still, has a little work to do to beat Lennon Radcliffe in that Corolla. There's Radcliffe in the 116. Kind of a newcomer to the series. This is a chassis that we haven't seen a lot of. I think there's so much potential in it, and he has come out on top of Podium Sprint. Back at Autobahn Country Club, he was able to do it. Mike Jansen picks up to a 1:54.7. It's 0.5 of a second between Jansen and Radcliffe, but Lennon goes quicker again, 1:54.338, and then it leaves Jansen only one more opportunity to defend himself from that 116.
And this is going to be really close. It's going to come down to this. Not quite at the point of getting that track record that we saw back in Heat 3 from Mike Jansen, a 1:53.527. Doesn't seem like we're on pace to be able to break that right here, right now. So for Mike Jansen, I mean, he's got 1 point for the record at this point, but he's going to want that top spot over Radcliffe. He's got a little bit of work to do. We'll see if he's able to pull it off.
This is a battle of the lightweights, the D16 versus the 1ZZ. This is Honda versus Toyota. Down the backstretch here at turn 8, your top speeds are going to be touching 100 miles an hour, maybe just north of that. but it's all about how little speed you bleed through these corners. Look at Lennon, all out of shape there. He's ahead. He doesn't know he's ahead by 4/10 unless he's got the live timing in his car, which I doubt.
I'm not going to tell him. Let's just let him go. Seems to be on a great run so far. As you said, it's all about carrying that momentum. They don't have the horsepower to dig out of a corner, so you just kind of got to fly through it at best. It's a little bit of a lift and try and just keep that car rolling as quick as humanly possible.
And can Sam Dooling, David Best, or John Laughlin, who's in a Mini Cooper, can he come out on top or move up onto the podium there? Points pay out down to 20th place, but they drop off very quickly after the top 3.
John Laughlin doing great things in that Cooper as we get eyes on it now. Fun little car, lots of development still to be had in it, but he's been picking up time all weekend. He's getting this thing figured out.
I think everyone has a lot to figure out with these cars. We've seen them before, but they're not quite as well sorted as the Honda Fits are. This class started as a class called Spec Fit, where it was basically all Honda Fits, and over the time that the years have passed, more and more diversity over the years. Jansen's going to cross the stripe, goes back to the top, 154, 286. Can Lennon Radcliffe steal it back as he comes across the stripe? This is for the win in Falcon Club SC to start the season. He does not go quicker. Jansen stays at the top for now. Can anybody knock one of those two off the top step?
Less than half a tenth between the two of them, just about half a tenth between the two of them. That is crazy. That shows you just how tight this series is.
Yeah, unbelievably close, and Sam Dooling picks up, but it's not going to be enough to go to second or first. Provisionally in a podium spot, David Best. There's Dooling, by the way, waving out the window. He's stoked. David Best across the stripe here. You'll see the green flash if he picks up some time. He does not. John Laughlin, the last driver in Falcon Club SC, and it looks like we might have our podium for this category.
Sam Dooling's been the biggest cheerleader on track all weekend. He's hyping everybody up. He's got his hand out the window. He's waving everybody on. He is just absolutely stoked to be out here driving. That is the spirit of racing to me. That's somebody who, no matter how they did that weekend, they're here to have fun. And if they end up on the box, which he did in this case, just all the better.
Yeah, Sam Dooling helps us out in GRIDLIFE with our tech and impound process. And you see him, he's just absolutely so excited to be here. But he will be on the podium, picks up a third-place trophy. Let's have a look at our results for Falcon Club SC. On the weekend, 26 points to Mike Jansen, 25 for finishing first in this session, and then +1 for the new class record here in this event. And then Radcliffe and Dooling, second and third. And podium points there, 21 points to Radcliffe, and 18 for Sam Dooling in the silver fit with the Thunder Bunny Racing decal on the side because he now works for Thunder Bunny. Moved from Michigan to South Carolina just a couple of months ago.
Doesn't matter.
Well, that commute got a lot quicker for him, that's for sure. We see him just on his cool down, or I mean for him more of a parade lap than anything. He'll be coming back into the pits here shortly and have our official ranking for these 5 drivers.
Let's have a look at our results now as Mike Jansen rolls into the pit lane and cools things down. And Radcliffe, again, in that Corolla, was ahead for 2 of the 3 laps, but just couldn't quite keep picking up speed the same that Jansen could. And there's a look at it. Jansen in the Civic, Lennon Radcliffe in the Corolla, the 2 fits, 3rd and 4th, and John Laughlin in the Mini Cooper. And Becky Robertson did not qualify for this, but she'll be 6th on the weekend, earned 6th place points. But that's one of our 7 classes here. We have tons left to do, including our next club class, also on a Falcon RT 660 plus tire, and that is Falcon Club TR. So with that, our first of the 7 classes out of the way. And Jansen will pick up right where he left off in dominant fashion. Although it wasn't by much, 1/10 of a second, over 2 miles around here in a 100 horsepower car, and 1/10 of a second is your winning differential.
Yeah, he did great. I mean, maybe not behind the 8 ball as much as he thought, but managed to stay on top.
Well, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with Falcon Club SC here in Podium Sprint.
You boys up for a challenge? How about this? Anything you can do, I can do faster. Okay, bro. I'm gnarlier than you. I get more sideways. I'm louder. Much louder. I get wilder than you. You sure about that, bro?
Harder. Slicker. Cooler. Tougher. Let's go.
So what you got?
Falcon Club TR on the racetrack now for their podium sprint. Stan Feingold, the top seed coming into this event. There's a look at Patrick Harvey, the bottom seed. Can he maybe upset and go to the top of the board? Feingold to the top at a 1:42.271. It's not the quickest lap we've seen today, but it could be enough. We'll see what Granberg's got in the 511 BRZ right behind him. K24 BRZ, but it's not quick enough to go to the top here, Jacob. So this is going to be a frantic fight. This is one of our most competitive categories.
Yeah, this is, it's not a massive step up from what we just saw with SC, but it's definitely a pretty big one. We're going to see a bunch of different chassis, obviously. Now we're looking at this MX-5 Miato, depending on where you are from the world. And Patrick Harvey setting things up here. Let's find out what time he's got, trying to beat that 1:55.690 of his personal best, and does so, dropping a bunch of time down to a 1:44. But still off the pace of Feingold with a 1:42.
Yeah, we notice we only have 4 cars on the racetrack, missing Mario Moroni, who was the number 2 seed coming into this event. But he has had all sorts of electrical issues and did not make it to the sprint grid. So Feingold in the 326, the white Toyota 86, tracking around turn 11 at the moment. He's the driver in the pointy end right now. And then Peter Granberg in a BRZ. So, you know, they're both K24 cars, Honda engines under the hood of those Toyotas, except for Jeremy Bailey, who has an FA24, which is a Subaru Boxer engine in that number 13.
Yeah, it sucks that Mario Moroni's not able to make it out. He's the current record holder at a 1:40.668.
There's the 326, Stan Feingold out to the rumble strips, completing lap number 2. And again, track record pace for Falcon Club TR, our track rat category, is a 1:40.668 set last year. Oh, that's a big pickup, though, a 1:41.3. That's Stan's best lap of the weekend in that Toyota 86. And that's going to be really hard for Granberg to match, I think. Very similar cars between these two drivers, but 6/10 off, it's closing.
Yeah, the gap is closing very, very quickly. So Granberg now really needs to dig in deep to be able to beat that, and can see just the modifications. Even some tape over those body lines could be enough to get you that last 10th.
Jeremy Bailey was the driver that won this last year with that FA24 BRZ, but Peter Granberg is kind of stuck in the middle right now as we watch Stan head down the back straightaway towards turn 8. This is his final lap of the session. Patrick Harvey knocked Bailey off the podium.
Oh, wow, yeah, jumping up into 3rd. I thought I heard a lockup from Harvey on the back section there as they were coming off into the distance, but if he did, managed to clean it up and pick up a spot. Bailey now sequestered down into 4th.
So Stan on the brakes into turn number 11. Taped up front fenders, trying to find every bit of speed you can. This class, the TR, stands for Track Rat. This is for really common track day mods for those gurus that like to put engines in their cars and do more aggressive modifications without ending up in other series unlimited categories, basically. So engine swaps are allowed, but 2.5 liter NA is your limit, or 1.6 liter turbo. So the 2.4 liter K24 is a great choice. The 2.4 liter FA24 from Subaru, also a great choice. And you're seeing things like S2000s, BRZs, MX-5 Miatas, and things like that. Here's Feingold, his last lap of Podium Sprint across the stripe. Is it a pickup? It will not be. It leaves him vulnerable if Granberg picks up in the blue and white BRZ.
That car's coming just across the line now, so we should be able to find out. Is Granberg going to be able to take that top spot? He's got a few tenths to take out, and he doesn't. Not even a personal best on that lap. So he's going to be in second for at least the time being, but still more drivers to come around.
And then Jeremy Bailey crossing the line right now in the number 13. And it will be a pickup, but it is not enough to go onto the podium. So Patrick Harvey does not need to improve this time. So Harvey can just stay where he is, and that he'll pick up his first ever podium. I think this is his first event with us, as far as I know.
Not bad then. Sitting in third is the last time. Now locked in, and there is your top four.
So Stan Feingold is going to win Falcon Club TR here this weekend. He won't go home with the record point though, so just 25 points for the 326. Peter Granberg in the 511 in that K24 BRZ. Let's have a look at our results screen here and get a look at what we've got.
3 laps to get it done. And as of right now, Feingold sitting in that top spot in the 86 with a 141.311.
Yeah, so 2 86 BRZ chassis and then an MX-5 on the podium. And Stan, again, picking the pocket of Peter Granberg here. I think Mario Moroni not making it is a pretty big deal. That car was really fast, and I think would have had the speed to win, but just reliability issues in the opening event of the season. He came up just shy of winning the championship last year, ultimately falling to Evan McLaren, where Granberg lost to McLaren by 0.03 of a second the year prior to that. So it's been a pretty impressive season to watch these drivers be so close. But Feingold, Granberg, and Harvey, your podium in Falcon Club TR. So Stan will collect his trophy. There's Peter. Come up just short, but a decent points day. 21 points on the season. There's only 6 events though, so you got to make the time count.
Yeah, every single point over a short season like this is going to mean everything. So, I mean, Peter probably happy to be taken second. Would have loved to have been on the top spot for sure, and not really all that far off the pace. So maybe find something when we move on down to Atlanta.
Street class on course next, and they're already on their outlap, I believe. And there's a look at Jeremy Hensley in the number 48, a Subaru WRX. There are 2 of them on course. Willem Dries is in a Hyundai Elantra N. And then Sam Bosnian is out there as well in a Mitsubishi Evo. Remember the rules to Podium Sprint. 4 tires off course, your lap is deleted. Doesn't matter what lap you're on, your entire session is disqualified. So
no, this is the whole session.
Yeah, you need to keep your tires on the road. That is the rule here. We don't want drivers sending it into the weeds. It's a plastic trophy and a high five, so it's really not worth it. And so in order to save the drivers from themselves, you have to stay on the road. I think that's fair, but they are pushing really hard. And there's a look there, the 2.5-liter flat 4s that you see in Halka and Hensley. And Hensley is seed number 3 here.
He's gonna have a little bit of work to do on this one to be able to take that top spot away from Josh Halka, who's looked incredible in the street class all weekend. But as we've seen time and time again with this format, crazy things do happen. Cars do go off track. Big gusts of wind come in at the wrong time. You never know. And street class is incredibly competitive.
So here's Jeremy Hensley throttling up onto the front straightaway. Again, this first lap, this is not one of their 3 competition laps. The false grid dumps you out right ahead of the start-finish line. So this is lap number 1 of 3 for the street class competitors. And Sam Bosnian is out there as well. Just trying to see who the 5th seed was. It was Robert Rushton, but we saw him have that big incident in heat number 6. Front end torn off that car. He is okay, but will not be present for Podium Sprint. This is Joshua Halka, past street class competitor for Turn-In Concepts. A huge built motor, turbo, all-wheel drive, crazy thing. These guys are just monsters.
Yeah, just. It looks very unassuming from the outside, but this thing puts down a ton of power, and he's been using that all-wheel drive to his advantage, trying to dig out a lot of these corners. I've also seen this car get a little bit squirrely at times, But yeah, Josh Halka does a great job of wrangling it back in. An all-wheel drive car is not one that you want to feel either step out or understeer. It's very hard to correct. But if you can wrangle all four wheels to do what you want it to do, you can set some amazing, amazing times.
Yeah, Halka, you mentioned that that car, you know, not looking like a lot from the outside. That's because in Street Class and Street GT, which we'll see next, OEM aero only. So you can't really do a lot to the outside of the car. Everything else is in suspension and bolt-on modifications. And here comes Halka across the line for the first time competition lap of 3, a 1:38.515. Not his quickest of the weekend, but that is a really solid lap here late in the day. Willem Dries is going to be next to cross the line in the number 66 Elantra N for KTM tuners all the way from California, a 1:41.049.
Yeah, this is already getting tight. And to remind everybody, the current record for Street Class at this track is a 1:38.188. Halka a couple of tenths off of that. There is the possibility that he could be breaking that record in this session. If there's going to be a session, it's going to happen. Well, I mean, this is our last session of the weekend for him, so it's got to happen now.
Halka down the back straightaway towards turn 8, on the brakes hard. You don't have that arrow to lean on. And at speed, these cars can generate a little lift, especially heading through that high-speed kink at turn 10. You really have to keep the car underneath you. That's what I'm talking about. You see the brake lights flashing. That's reseating the pads against the rotor so that you have full pedal pressure. The big curbs here can vibrate your pads away from the rotor such that when you go to hit the brakes, they have to travel a little extra distance and you get a long pedal. That's no fun when you enter turn 11 at 140 miles an hour.
Now, even that split second can be enough to shoot you off track. So it seems to be with a few of these drivers that their second laps, I don't know if they're still pushing pretty hard, but they seem to be trying to crank out a great time on the first lap and then reserving a little bit of pace for the third lap. So second has been more prep than anything, but we'll see how this ends up playing out.
This is that Elantra N I was mentioning, Willem Dries. For KTM tuners, they had a weapon of a car last year that ended up getting wrecked at Road America. Had an incident here too, but this is the slightly newer facelifted car, and they've done a lot to this machine. And you see that rear wing on the car? That's the controversy here in track battle. OEM aero, what does that mean? It means if the manufacturer sold it, it counts, even if it's a special trim. So Willem Dries across the stripe there in the 66. No pickup though that time for the 66 machine.
Interesting. I did not realize that. Well, I mean, I obviously realize the rules, but that is a package, huh?
The nuance is there's an MSRP limit, and the trim that the aero piece comes from has to also be under the MSRP limit. So let's say that in Street GT it's the same way. So if the Corvette Z06 is under the MSRP and you have a Corvette Grand Sport, you can put Z06 aero on your Grand Sport so long as the higher trim is under that MSRP limit. So you can kind of mix and match those aero bits. And Hyundai's got some special trims of this car that they have and they sell with VINs. So hey, that's the drama. That's the pushing the limits of the rule set that you have in GRIDLIFE track battle.
Tells me Hyundai's in it to win it and making a big push in this type of motorsport, big partnership with GRIDLIFE. So I mean, go Hyundai.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun to watch Willem get a lot out of this car. And that rear wing is key because his incident last year here at this racetrack was right there at the kink. And it was because the factory rear wing doesn't quite generate the downforce you need when you're carrying the speed that you have with the boost levels that these cars have. So Dries trying to get up onto the podium here, maybe trying to snipe a position away from Halka. But Josh is so fast. And Jeremy Hensley is still running in third. I saw Sam Bosnian on the road, but I don't see him having completed a lap. So I don't know if he came back to pit lane, but I don't think he's going to get a real good run at snagging a podium.
Tough to see, but we'll find out what the time is going to be here for Dries. It looked like a very tidy lap, looked quick.
This will be it for Dries. Checker flag for the number 66 and a 1:41.049. So no pickup there.
No. So Halka still sitting on top with the 1:38.515.
A checker? I thought I saw a white, but I don't think we're throwing whites in this. So I wonder if maybe the Bosnian car was stuck somewhere else. Let's have a look at our results regardless of the 5 cars that were supposed to be in this podium sprint. Only 3 made it around 4 some laps. And Halka out on top. So job well done, but we have to wish a big congratulations to Willem Dries and the KDM Tuners guys all the way from California, picking up a podium in that number 66 Hyundai.
It's been a war of attrition this weekend, and a lot of cars starting to back out. It's been tough. This track has been pretty abusive on suspension and, well, pretty much everything else.
Yeah, Jeremy Hensley grabbing third place in the WRX STI. So 2 Subarus and a Hyundai on the podium here for Street Class, and Street GT will be up right after this.
We're Tire Rack. We test tires to provide you with truth, transparency, and unbiased recommendations. We stock over 1 million tires to ensure we have what you need. We're Tire Rack. We work hard to ship your tires fast and free. We offer convenient installation options to keep you moving forward. We do all this for one reason. Tires matter. TireRack.com, official tire retailer of GRIDLIFE.
When we modify our cars, we do it to feel a greater connection, a more responsive feel between ourselves and the road.
Green flag for GRIDLIFE Street GT here at GRIDLIFE South Carolina, the Track Battle Podium Sprint. Welcome back to our first round of 6 in 2026. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Gettins. We've got Jackson Lambros in the pit lane. Luke McGrew, top seed here for Street GT. This is the big bore class, 6 cylinders and up, factory aero, and bolt-on modifications only, and your tire limited as well, as Luke hunts his way through turns 5, 6, and 7. This Z06 is paired up with a whole bunch of other Corvettes in this group. I think we have an all Corvette podium sprint.
Yeah, it's, I mean, they found their class. The Corvette now has a new home, and it is Street GT. Luke McGrew came down that front straight absolutely hauling. He is wanting to get the start of this run as fast as he possibly can. And man, it's a great sounding set of laps here. And you got that many Corvettes, all that screaming Eagles out in the air. Phenomenal, phenomenal sound here in South Carolina.
Yeah, Luke McGrew out of Hurricane, West Virginia. He really enjoys just driving. He's been with GRIDLIFE, you know, as long as I can remember. Used to drive a Dodge Viper, then he ran an Eibach GLTC for a handful of years. He actually started Track Battle with a Subaru way back when. Then had an MX-5 in Eibach GLTC, then a Corvette. That was a C5 Corvette, sold that car, then got a C8 Corvette and this C6 Z06, and all of those cars were black.
That's, wow, okay.
Yes.
He's got a theme at least.
He does.
Getting a little bit stepped out there on 14. We're seeing that quite a lot as he's coming firing down the straight, and you can see the amount of speed he's got. He cannot blow the braking. And the time comes from McGrew, top of the spot so far with a 137.132.
And that is a new track record for GRIDLIFE Street GT by half a second. Wow. So just blew the doors off Ryan Matthews' best time from last year. The bad news for McGrew is Ryan Matthews is on track here too. Nick Hendricks, 141.118. He'll need to do better than that to beat the man from West Virginia.
See how this all plays out. Man, it's going to be tough. And it looks like Matthews not able to pick up too much time. 142, way off the pace for him.
Yeah, the number 5 seed was Evan D in a Shelby GT350 Mustang. I don't see him on track either, so our attrition rate has been high from Heat 6 this morning to Podium Sprint here today. That's Luis Zendejas in another Corvette Z06. Avoiding the curbs there at turn 3, but right now only 0.8 of a second behind McGrew.
Zendejas might be the one that's going to be taking it to McGrew based on those first couple of laps. Not sure if maybe Matthews had a section of this track that went a little squirrely for him, but that is not the time I would have expected if you asked me before we cracked this off.
Yeah, that was a really good lap. I think Luke knew there was more in it today. He said he got held up in Heat 6 this morning, and he was only 1/10 off of the track record, so maybe no surprise there. There's the chaser, Zendejas, into turn 8.
I think Zendejas has got more in it as well. I mean, all these Corvettes have looked really, really good. Seems to be who can put the traction down at 14. That's a bit of a differentiator. Getting through the tighter section through 5, 6, and 7, it's a lot of load on the car and on the wheels, but if you can hold on to it without having to make a lot of corrections, you can pick up a ton of speed through there too.
Luke McGrew, a 136.886, and he's just obliterated the previous track record. Almost a second better than the track record, and a full 0.3 better than the lap he just ran.
That's absurd. That is absolutely absurd.
Wow.
Yeah, Hendricks not, well, able to improve his personal, but not anywhere near McGrew at this point. Zendejas should be the next competitor coming across the line. Matthews bumps up to 138.
Yeah, Ryan Matthews on the outside looking in right now, the After Dark Speed 211 car. Easing in on the back of Zendejas, so one more lap to find 0.2 of a second. I think he has it in him.
I think so too. Question is, does Luke McGrew have a little bit more in him? Can he drop that time down? 136.8 is a tough time to beat, but he's already taken so much out of the record. Maybe there's a little bit more.
Luke McGrew was the Street GT class champion last year. He would walk away with 26 points if he was able to hold on today, and I don't know that really anyone's going to be threatening him. He's a full second clear of Zendejas.
You never know. You never know, but yeah, there's a couple of questions here. Can anybody take it to Luke McGrew, and can Luke McGrew take it to Luke McGrew?
One more time, one more opportunity. And I don't know that Luke is going to bother. I think he still looks like he's going quick.
He's hustling.
Yeah, usually in a Street GT car, it's cooler today, but in warmer temperatures, you can really only get a lap or two before you're just greasing up the tires around too much. These are heavy cars in comparison to some of the other classes here this weekend.
Yeah, 100%, especially if you put a lot of load, like I said, through that 5, 6, 7 section.
Nope.
You can really, really heat things up.
Luke into the pit lane, so he will bail out. That leaves the door open for Matthews, Zendejas, or Hendricks. Hendricks will be the next driver to the stripe. And watch that timing and scoring to see if it swaps or switches. Hendricks improves, but it's not enough. Matthews bails out, and that leaves Zendejas as the only driver left to have a chance to dethrone McGrew.
Wow, what a session. And it looks like Zendejas now should be coming out to 14 here in just a second. If we can get some eyes on him. Actually, we might see him just fly by this scene right now.
Here he comes. Oh, he's also going to pit in. Or is he off? No, he's coming in the pit lane.
Oh,
it looked like he was in the grass for a second.
It sounded like he locked it up before he came in the pit lane, though.
And with that, Street GT is complete. Let's have a look at the results for it. Street Mod is about to head out on the racetrack. And Luke McGrew picking up where he left off. It's interesting to note that both in Club SC and in Street GT, last year's winner is the first round winner as well. Luke McGrew, there he is. An all Corvette Z06 lineup here. That seems to be the popular choice.
Yeah, I can't think of another chassis that's going to be able to challenge him. But yeah, Luke McGrew taking so much time out of that track record. A big congratulations to him. This is one of those weekends that he will never forget.
That is a really, really impressive lap time by Luke McGrew. Perhaps no surprise. Nick Hendricks is finishing his cool down lap, and while he does, we should be turning the street modified cars loose. The track mod cars will be up after then. Unlimited Street Mod has been a battleground, perhaps GRIDLIFE's most famous category, should I say, over the years, because we've seen such heavy hitters in it. Dewey DeWitt, we've seen a couple of year program by Jackie Ding, who's well known in the time attack world. There's so many drivers that have committed to this class. Cal Fortner brings a really interesting car into the group, an AMG GTS. So, you know, this is a class where now you can start working on engine internals. You can run with more aero. You're just stepping everything up a notch. The rule about street mod, though, your car has to pass what we call the ice cream test. You have to be able to put your significant other in the passenger seat and drive on down and get ice cream. If you can't do it without getting pulled over and arrested, then your car is not legal. That's not the official term in the rules, but that's basically the gentleman test there.
Well, and if anybody's new to the grid life culture, they actually do that. At Gingerman is a fun little cruise to do that, exactly that. And yeah, I like that. I like that test.
I think Dewey did it last year in 2024 when he broke a record at Road America, I believe.
Okay.
Gave it a test and drove off to get some ice cream. So Dewey in his 1995 Subaru. This is the driver that we'll be watching again all season long. Two-time street mod champion in the car he calls Boogeyman. The number 70. It's a 1995 Subaru Impreza L. Here it is.
It's a monster.
License plate says it makes 580. I think it makes closer to 650. They won't admit that. But this car is a rocket ship. It did nearly 170 miles an hour at Mid-Ohio. And here he comes up the front straightaway, across the stripe to begin his first flying lap in street mod, Podium Sprint at CMP.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely epic. Dewey will find every single inch of the racetrack and exploit it to his full advantage. You will see him take a ton of curb wherever he can. He is going to go, I mean, I think he can go pretty much flat out through the kink as well. He is a complete monster. We've got a car off already out of the 444 Supra. But don't think I see any flags out. Look at there, Dewey getting the car stepped out already.
Yeah, that is Luca Barberis, and that is heartbreaking. Luca was the 3rd seed, so, you know, had an opportunity for a podium. I thought there was still a lot of time left in that car. And we'll see if it impacts Dewey's lap at all. But out onto the rumbles, leaving turn 8. And the pirate flag draped over the shoulder.
He looked a little bit squirrely going into turn 8. That car under braking had a bit of a shimmy back and forth, but he loves this car on a knife edge, and this is the driving of Dewey DeWitt. Always exciting.
This is a formula that he and team have been perfecting for years, and it's starting to look pretty scary again for this year. If you've got this to go up against, is a 3rd championship on the horizon. And, you know, what else do you do? I mean, he's on 255 width tires. That's the limitation for an all-wheel drive car. You're putting 600 horsepower to 255 width tires. Look at this, 143 miles an hour here at CMP. This racetrack does not have straightaways that are all that long. 1.4 lateral G's, fist out the window, across the stripe. What does Dewey do across the stripe here? The record's a 134, 176. He reset it this morning. He'll do it again, 132.310. And by a 10th this morning, he is going to break it again. So new track record once more, Dewey DeWitt.
This is going to be really tough for anybody else on track right now to be able to do it. Cal Fortner puts down his best time at 136, but just shows you 4 seconds off the pace of Dewey DeWitt. And this car, though, absolutely stunning. I think their biggest thing is just trying to figure out the best way to put the power down with it. It makes all the horsepower you could ever want for a racetrack, but that Mercedes, it's a handful.
Yeah, of course, this GTS, this car makes about 700 wheel, as my understanding, the Al's Auto Body car. But keeping the differential happy has been a real struggle. With that much power going to the rear wheels here, it's a heavy car, but you know the great news is this Mercedes AMG platform has a lot of motorsports lineage, so there's a lot of this car that's very strong. They can really turn things up, and the car will hold together. I think mechanically, it's been a pretty good car, with the exception of that driveline reliability. Nick Nazaro, by the way, this could be a dark horse in that WRX STI, the 860 car for Subi Mods. I was talking to him here on the broadcast, and I told him on air that he was in the Podium Sprint, and he had no idea. He did not have any expectations this weekend of making the Podium Sprint, his first appearance here in his Subi Mods car, and we'll see him come around again here shortly.
Yeah, Nazaro's, I mean, another driver that's doing a lot of work this weekend, and basically any time that there's track time available, he's taking it. You can see Cal Fortner there, gets on the power car, gets a little bit squirrely as Dewey DeWitt flies flies by our booth. We'll keep a close eye on his timing, see if he can drop down that 132. Nope, does not make an improvement. Probably used it to cool down, and now he is on the flyer to end all flyers here in Street Mod.
Yeah, Cal Fortner looks like he is a little slow.
Yeah.
And he's going to pit in, so he might be satisfied with that. The next car I'd like to try to grab is Nick Nazaro. So Grant White is entering. Actually, Nazaro's might have some traffic to contend with. It is a white Subaru WRX that is tracking through turn 12 at the moment, car 860. And again, his first podium sprint appearance. He was really excited to be here. He was playing triple duty with a couple of drift cars. And coming back around towards the final corner, the WRX STI of Nick Nazaro. And you'll see him right here, right behind Grant White. Those are the other two cars that are on course. And great looking livery on it as well here, Jacob.
Yeah, great looking livery. Incredible human being as well, just a great conversation, and we'll see what he's able to do. Still on that 143, maybe catching a little bit of a draft there, but not able to improve that time. Seeing Dewey DeWitt now on the backside of the track.
I don't think Dewey is on a quick one anymore. I think he's gotten all he can get out of it. Great work there by Grant White. He sacrificed his last lap to allow Nazaro to go by. In theory, you shouldn't really have to deal with traffic in this session, but Nick Nazaro, look at that Subi Mod's car tracking around turns 4, 5, and 6.
He looked real smooth, leaning pretty hard on that car. Suspension fairly soft, but he's using it well and finding the grip on it. Nazaro now getting a chance to take a couple of deep breaths through this straightaway. As Dewey DeWitt pulls it in. So that's going to be his final time for the weekend. But Nick Nazaro maybe looking to pick up a bit more time. And at least for him, pick up a personal best on the weekend for a driver. Didn't expect to even be in this spot. So at this point, it's all wins for Nick.
I mean, walking away with a trophy in your first time attack weekend. That's cool.
That's a dream come true.
Yeah, EJ 25. 2.5 liter flat 4 in the 6-speed manual gearbox. And we had a great conversation about, where you start, where Subarus land in the motorsports world, and the easiest place to get started. And Subimod stocks all sorts of parts that can help you on your motorsports journey with these cars. But, you don't really have to do a lot, in things like Eibach GLTC. Max Gorley is here running a Subimod's car and the wheel-to-wheel stuff. And they haven't really had to do a lot. These cars land pretty neatly into our categories. A little wide there at turn 14.
Ooh, gets that turn in.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to matter. Even if it's not quicker, he's going to be podium because everyone else has bailed out.
See what he's able to do now that he's coming across the stripe. Nick Nazaro, not quite enough, but for him, this is a big win on the weekend.
So Nick Nazaro, P3. And we'll have a look here at our results for Street Modified. And Dewey DeWitt is going to be a new record holder here at Carolina Motorsports Park in that number 70. What a drive.
Yeah, what a drive. One more time, if you've been following the history of Grid Life, for Dewey, it is just another day at the office for a very stoic human being.
Yeah, and he'll be stoked about that, and he'll pick up 26 points. Cal Fortner will go home with 21. Then Nick Nazaro in the 860, his first ever event in track battle, his first ever podium as well. Grant White finishes 4th, and unfortunately Luca Barberis will not finish. He'll be scored with 5th place points. And track battle Street Mod is complete. More Podium Sprint from Track Mod and Unlimited. You're not going to want to miss that one. That's coming up in a few. We'll see you in a moment.
For a challenge? How about this? Anything you can do, I can do faster. Okay, bro. I'm gnarlier than you. I get more sideways. I'm louder. Much louder. I get wilder than you. You sure about that, bro?
Harder. Slicker. Cooler. Tougher. Let's go.
So what you got?
GRIDLIFE Track Battle Podium Sprint continues from Carolina Motorsports Park. Welcome back to GRIDLIFE South Carolina, the opening round of 2026. Kyle Heyer joined by Jacob Geddens. We've got Jackson Lambros in the pit lane. It is Track Mod on course. You can hear the wind. It is blowing out there. But top seed for Track Mod, Adam Slowinski in a BMW M4 MX Drive Coupe, a seed time of 1:35.192. And he's still about 2 seconds off from the track record. This is the car that will be chasing him, seed number 2. That's Chris Boersma in the number 33.
Yeah, Boersma's made quite an impact this weekend as well, although not able to take that top spot coming into the seeding session. He's been trying to take, he has been taking a bunch of time out of these laps and finding some great pace throughout. Now that we're into these big boy cars, as we say, it's going to get even spicier, and I think the wind is going to make more of an impact with the cars that are a little bit more aero dependent. Yeah, 1999 Honda Civic that Chris Boersma has. This car has been with him for a really long time. A long time ago, he had about a 2-hour drive to work, drove it every day for years, took his now wife to prom in it years ago. A 2-hour drive to work, holy.
Yep.
I must have loved that job.
There's Boersma again with 4-cylinder power here. That's not necessarily abnormal. We have a couple of cars in this mix, including Kendall Samuel in the 197 in a Subaru, which we haven't seen in GRIDLIFE Track Battle in a long time. Kendall's car specifically. It's also a Pikes Peak hill climb car. So great to have Kendall back in the paddock with us. Boersma's on course. Adam Slowinski, though, that top seat surprised me. When I checked the timesheet, he snuck under our noses in heat number 6. But watch the timing screen here as that green BMW comes across the stripe, top of the board, 1:39.128. I think he'll need more than that, though.
I think so, too. Yeah, there's going to have to be a little bit more, but should be getting the time here for Boersma just in a second as he sets it up for turn 1. And there it is, top of the spot, 1:36.
That is a little bit more representative to what we'll see. That is not quite Boersma's best time of the weekend, about 2/10 off. But that's the car that came in as the top seed. Slowinski in this green BMW. And Track Mod, the rule set steps up a level. 60 treadwear tires, even more aero allowed. There's 2 paths you can take with Track Mod. You can either do something like this. You take a modern high-performance car, supercar, things like that. Or there's a different path in the rule set to do something more like what Kendall Samuel and Boersma do, where you take an older car and you're allowed a little bit more modification to sort of battle it out with these modern machines. Yeah, and it's interesting how tight the racing is still, that the new cars have all the technology and all the development, but so do the old cars, because we've had years and years of the aftermarket industry developing parts that can bring them up to the same sort of pace that we've got with the modern vehicles. So I think it makes for great racing. I think it shows that no matter what you want to do, if you want to rent or finance, you can find a way to a top spot here in Track Mod. Yeah, S58 under the hood of this car, 3-liter inline 6, an 8-speed automatic. But again, this is a conversation we had earlier in the weekend about how good torque-converted automatics have gotten in the last 5 or 6 years. And they're also so strong now. There was a long time where if you didn't have a manual gearbox, it was really tough to make them last and make them cool enough to compete. There's a 136 flat. It's still 9/10 off his best time of the weekend, but he goes to the top of the board. Yeah, Slowinski now taking that top spot. Boersma is going to have to answer here, and he does. Wow. 135.9, so just a hair under. But that's what's going to take a little bit of a lockup. Yeah, Kendall Samuel locking up in the Subaru here, tracking out again. a driver that's got a lot of experience doing different things all the way from Colorado. This car has been on the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb course. Lots of smoke, big lockup, and it just is not gonna turn.
Now, did he stay on track though?
Yeah, that's the ultimate question. He's not third quick, so I'm not sure it'll matter too much because the fifth seed isn't on course with us. That would have been Brad Perkins. He's had some mechanical issues that we saw at the end of Heat 6.
He's gonna have a lap to think about it, that's for sure, and maybe a lap to cool everything off. You wonder if he flat spotted anything and how much the shake is in that car. It was a pretty big lockup.
Yeah, Dallas Reed here in the number 22 Corvette CR1, and carving into turn 8. Dallas again has run all sorts of Corvette machinery, including an E-ray at times.
Right.
But this car, well suited for track mod. This is sort of that supercar path I alluded to in the rules.
Yeah.
Sitting third right now in a spot for a podium.
The Batmobile path. Great looking car though. I love what Chevrolet decided to do with this and go, you know what, let's make ourselves a real supercar, not just a muscle car.
Going to that mid-engine platform was controversial, but how about that? 134.772 for Adam Slowinski. Goes to the top of the board, and it's not a track record, but it might be good enough to hold off Boersma, and it looks like it will be. Yeah,
Boersma not able to answer. The 135.9 is going to hold him down for the time being. Let's see what this C8 is able to do now on that front straight, and it blows by our booth. Man, that thing just looks so fast.
Checkered flag for Dallas Reed, no pickup, but it doesn't matter. He is on the podium. And Adam Slowinski in the 516 BMW, your winner in track mod. That was a really nice job. He and Boersma going back and forth. That's what I love about this podium sprint format, putting all the top drivers in each class on the track at the same time, and they just have that slugfest for lap time. I know that records matter a lot in the track battle and track time attack community in general, but there's something really special about watching them go back and forth, and we all are here, tuned in, ready to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a special condition, you can have the perfect time with the perfect light and the perfect car, and there is something magical about that perfect lap as everybody is chasing, but when you realize that everyone's got the same opportunity on the same temps, it makes it just that little bit tougher.
Adam Slowinski, your winner in track mod in the 516 M4 competition. Chris Boersma, second place in the Honda Civic, and Dallas Reed in the Corvette ZR1 in third place. Kendall Samuel in that 197. I think the critical thing is, did he go off? I don't know that it's going to matter because he's already in the podium sprint, and there's no one behind him.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to know. It was crazy. We talked earlier about blowing through the first turn. That's a great example of it.
Okay, this is what everyone's been waiting for.
Yep.
Unlimited. This is where you get slicks, you get all the aero you want, you get all the motor you want, and there are two cars here today that I think are about to throw down in the hardest way that we've ever seen at GRIDLIFE South Carolina. Alan Patton, the Louis Gelati Racing C7 Corvette, and Jimmy Rock in his crazy high power turbocharged Honda Civic, the 921 car. You see on your screen there, Corvette Civic Camaro RCF, Andres Bertulis and Jeremy Lauder bringing up the rear here. And that battle for podium will be fun between those two, but Patton versus Rock, this is gonna be a blast.
Yeah, Patton, I mean, his laps have been just exciting from the get-go. That car is so dynamic, and the fact that he's just able to hold on to it all the way through a run is incredible. He is using track limits as a suggestion through every single run, dipping tires left and right. Thankfully, all the suspension components have been able to hold up with it because, I mean, especially coming out of turn 14, he is just barely hanging on.
Look at the engines for these cars. Alan Patton has a 6.2 liter V8, and Jimmy Rock has a third of the displacement and half the cylinders.
I mean, it's that power to weight ratio. That's what we get to. You don't, you know, you can have all the power in the world, but it's still a big, heavy car. But for Rock, that thing is light, it's nimble, and boosted to the nines. Makes beautiful sounds too.
So perhaps it isn't surprising that Alan Patton has just been dominant so far this weekend. The mission last year was break all the track mod records he could. He did that. Took 4 rounds in 4 entries and had 4 track records. Won the championship handily. And now put some slicks on it, upgrade the car in the off season, His track record time from this morning, 128.544. That is the track record time that we're chasing, 128.544. Here comes Alan Patton-Jacob into turn one.
This is it. This is the magic he is hoping for. The temps, the skyline, everything has to align for Patton, going after not just that track record, but that top spot. So we'll see that Corvette revving it out, and now he gets to pick up a ton of speed. We've seen him dip there every single lap.
There's a lot of weight, a lot of momentum to manage. Alan Patton, again, just started driving a couple of years ago, but in that time has been dominant in Track Battle Championship, in Time Attack, in other series, as well as some professional racing in SRO and IMSA. He is a wheelman. I don't think he's afraid of anything. And 160 plus miles an hour down into turn 8 on the brakes hard.
Mechanical sympathy is just not something that is in his description. This is wild. Now the car looks a lot less twitchy than we saw it earlier. These cooler temps and these slicks are doing quite well for him, but man, look at that speed.
Unbelievable. Big wiggle through the kink. He hangs it off the edge of the road just a little bit. Now on the binders, down to second gear as he claws up through the gears again, up to turn 12. Alan Patton on a mission.
128.5, that is the number we are going to be looking for as he cuts into the apex of that corner. Now gets that slingshot off, gets that pedal down, and tries to pick up as much speed as he can before he's got to go on those brakes real hard here in a second. And there it is, the sparks of flying, the grass of cutting. Alan Patton, last corner, last chance.
Yeah, and we're going to track out at turn 14 using all the rumble strip. That's okay. 1 tire off is fine. 4 tires off is what gets you in trouble. This could even be his banker lap, but across the stripe for Alan Patton, and it's a 129.813. He doesn't need to break the track record. He just needs to beat Jimmy Rock. Here comes Jimmy across the stripe now in the Civic, a 132.528. But he's going to take another lap or two to get these tires fully up to temp. Much lighter car. It's going to take a little longer to build that temperature.
Yeah, he's really going to have to work those tires in order for that to happen. So I'd expect that's going to be on this one and then go for a flyer at the end. But Lauder now putting in a 138. Still needs a bit more time to come off that. Put a personal best for him.
Yeah, so again, I think Patton's going to be going for another flyer. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go even faster this time, but Jimmy Rock again. Oh, actually, Alan is knocked off. He's going to stay at the 29.8. That he thinks that that's all he needs.
Wow, okay. I was hoping he'd go for another big one, but here we are. So Brack is going to be the driver with all the eyes on him. Hopefully that temp comes into those tires and everything lines up for him. Man, that angle though.
Sparking, smoking, sailing through the turn 10 kink. And only the front tires doing work here on acceleration. And the rear wheel's really just getting dragged around in this front drive car, but what he lacks in traction, he will make up for in weight. This car is significantly lighter than Alan Patton's Corvette.
Yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job here, and you can see the car seems very well balanced. He's not having to work at it nearly as much as Patton did. Now, obviously the power delivery coming from the front wheels is not going to have the same problems. You've got through the rears, you can hear him popping and banging, coming across the booth and over the line. What kind of time will we see?
Quicker. 132, 189. Not enough to knock Patton off, but he might go for one more. Patton is throttling up. Patton's going to go for another flyer here, and Jimmy Rock needs to go quicker than a 129.8. So the 921 is going to go one more time, and Alan Patton has throttled back up. He's going to go for one more lap.
Yeah, we'll see what Alan Patton does here. Lauder getting the best time of his day. 137, or sorry, at least of the session. And there's Alan Patton dipping that dirt one more time. More sparks off the front and a lot more pressure.
Yeah, this is going to be a big moment here. Again, he is 3 seconds, well, 2.5 seconds clear of Jimmy Rock. I'm not saying it's impossible for Jimmy to get there, but I think this is for Patton and Patton only. He's reset the record. He's trying to prove a point. He's not going to go away easy.
The wiggle under braking every time. You don't, as a driver, it's not something you want to feel. It looks incredible from our perspective, but it's man, it's just on that, and there it is. Rack gives him the flyby. He's now a spectator. What a jump!
Wow, Alan Patton full commit through the turn 10 kink. Great respect between these drivers. That's what the GRIDLIFE paddock is all about. And Patton sliding rearward across the road there, getting set up for the last few corners at CMP.
Patton now, he's got just a few bits of a mile left between him and the finish line, potentially a track record. We'll see. He's already holding on to the top spot. This is now just for bragging rights.
Patton, little lateral slide there out of, almost. Tire was on the road. I call that on course. Here we go. Patton across the stripe. 128.544 is the record across, and it is going to be a 129.813. Not a record, but he is the fastest man in South Carolina right now. Alan Patton is going to win Unlimited. Jeremy Lauder and Cazellas are going to fight over P3. Lauder and the Camaro coming across the stripe in a moment.
Patton cannot, he's going to leave here and know that he left all of it out on tracks. We get a lock up there from Lauder. Oh, that's a lot of car to pull back at that turn.
Bertulis across the stripe, no pickup, and Ernie Cazellas. Can he knock Lauder off the podium? The answer to that question is no. By a 1/10 of a second, Jeremy Lauder hangs on for a third-place trophy. How about that?
Wow, Unlimited came out for a fight, and we've got, I don't know, it looks like we got a car pulled off to the side.
That's Lauder. He had smoke coming from the car. I think he just did his best to get out of the way, but he's going to roll. And let's have a look at our Unlimited results here. I think we just missed them from the timing and scoring there, unfortunately. But Alan Patton and Jimmy Rock, your top two. Jeremy Lauder picks up a podium. Job well done by everybody out there. Great respect between the top two there, trading back and forth, clear track for all.
Oh, man, and who says time attack's not exciting? That was incredible. Great job from our Unlimited class. Great job from all of our classes. And that is going to do it for us as we now get to stare into some wheel-to-wheel racing.
Wheel-to-wheel racing is up next. IBOT GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 4. Excited to bring you the action. We'll show you the last 3 races of the weekend, the final races, in just a moment. We'll be right back.